Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. Let's look the truth in the eye today and break down what protecting nature actually means, and why there are so many obvious, glaring contradictions built around this topic. We all perfectly understand that cleaning up after ourselves, not creating unnecessary waste, putting a bottle in the trash, and generally treating the land, water, and air with care is a basic, normal expression of human culture. There is absolutely no heroism, feat, or eco-activism in that. It is basic hygiene for a sentient being, just like washing your hands before eating or brushing your teeth in the morning. But why then, even when we sincerely try to do everything right, does there still remain a strange, sticky, and nagging feeling of discrepancy? Why do we feel that a grand trick is hiding somewhere here? The thing is, in today's world, we are constantly faced with absurd, colossal double standards. On one hand, the ordinary person, each of us, is loaded down with tons of guilt over our carbon footprint. We are urged to control every step we take, save every drop of water while brushing our teeth, turn off the lights, sort our trash into different bins, and overpay for products labeled eco. All responsibility for the global state of the planet is shifted entirely onto the shoulders of the common man. We are literally told that we, and only we, are to blame for all ecological catastrophes. But if we lift our eyes a little higher and look at the global industrial level, we see the complete opposite picture. The very same structures, funds, and corporations that sponsor these beautiful slogans are, in real time, blocking clean technologies and continuing the massive destruction of planetary ecosystems for the sake of extracting super profits. Let's look at the situation openly. Clean air, living, untouched nature, clean drinking water, and healthy natural food are, before our very eyes, turning from natural free conditions of life on Earth into a scarce, premium commodity. And this scarcity is created entirely artificially, at the level of system algorithms. Through every information channel, from news feeds to entertainment content, we are constantly broadcasted alarming, frightening scenarios of inevitable climate catastrophe. Why is this done? Exclusively to trigger in each of us a deep subconscious sense of guilt for simply living, using the Earth's blessings, and consuming resources. When a person is in a state of constant fear for tomorrow and carries this heavy burden of guilt, their focus of attention inevitably narrows. We are intentionally driven into a mode of mental survival in which global, strategic thinking simply shuts down. We start spending all our mental, emotional, and physical strength fighting minor, visible consequences. We argue about the harm of plastic bags, collect plastic caps, and search for biodegradable household chemicals. And in that hustle, we forget to ask one simple question. Why, with the current colossal, almost fantastic level of scientific development, are we still being offered solutions to planetary problems at the household level, while the entire global industrial system continues to operate according to the old, dirty blueprints of the industrial age? The answer is simple. It is much easier to control a frightened and guilty society by collecting new environmental taxes and fees from it. If we move away from the worn-out school templates about the green lungs of the planet that we are mechanically told over and over, an ancient, untouched forest is not just a timber mass for furniture factories or raw material for pulp and paper mills. In a deep, systemic, and material sense, living nature is the complex hardware base of our planet. Every ancient forest massif works as a natural repeater, a bioantenna, and a stabilizer of Earth's electromagnetic field. Trees harmonize the frequency of the environment in which we live, communicate, develop, and think. This is a living shield that supports mental health, clarity of consciousness, and human energy balance. And when massive, barbaric logging of the taiga or the Amazon rainforest occurs all over the world, it is not just an industrial resource being destroyed. The very subtle structure of space in those regions is being broken. A physical dismantling of the planetary stabilization network is taking place. In these points of the Earth, the atmosphere changes fundamentally. The environment around them becomes heavy, chaotic, and aggressive. Without the natural, living protection of nature, it becomes much harder for a person to maintain internal calm, preserve clarity of mind, and remain conscious. A space stripped of forest is more easily filled with artificial info noise, radiation, and frequencies that make us more vulnerable to stress, panic attacks, and external mental programming. We lose our natural recharge and become dependent on an artificial environment. The most striking and cynical part of this whole story is that for years, we have been told about a lack of solutions, a shortage of energy resources, and a technological crisis, even though advanced science made all the necessary leaps forward long ago. We are still totally dependent on burning coal, gas, and fuel oil. We are still heating water with nuclear reactors only because real technologies of abundance are consciously kept under the strictest ban by closed patent offices and are not released into mass circulation. They are simply blocked from the open market. Let's recall specific fields that could change everything: autonomous energy without fuel, developments in resonance systems, and harvesting energy from the surrounding space. The ether, along with other safe alternative sources, were being researched by brilliant physicists including Nikola Tesla back at the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries. These technologies are capable of providing clean, practically free electricity to any point on the planet, without building dangerous nuclear power plants, without thousands of miles of cables, without destroying the Earth's crust, and without oil wars. But the infrastructure tied to meters and the sale of raw materials stands like a bone in the throat blocking these discoveries. Natural materials and composites, modern materials based on graphene, industrial hemp, basalt, and seaweed, could completely and painlessly replace all toxic plastics, non-degradable packaging, and the dirty production of concrete. For example, industrial hemp absorbs carbon dioxide several times more efficiently than any forest, and building blocks made from it are stronger than concrete, retain heat perfectly, and are absolutely ecological. Packaging made from seaweed perfectly replaces cellophane in its properties, yet it dissolves in water within a few weeks, turning into safe fertilizer or fish feed. Why don't we see these on store shelves at 100% scale? Because these projects are intentionally not scaled or sponsored. They are not allowed into production because they make people autonomous and independent from central supply grids, corporate monopolies, and monthly utility bills. The management system does not need a world where basic resources are available to everyone without strict control and financial obligations. Why are we, with all our colossal scientific potential, so deeply and hopelessly stuck in the technologies of the last century? The answer is simple. Because if these closed patents were implemented and people were given clean energy, long-lasting materials, and complete independence, the very model of our society would change at its core. The necessity for an endless, grueling race for survival from paycheck to paycheck would vanish. People would finally lift their heads from the ground, satisfy their basic material needs, and begin to develop spiritually, explore the world, and ask questions about the nature of their reality. This is precisely why we are witnessing a man-made, artificial containment of evolution. The economic model is built on a protocol of planned obsolescence. It is much more profitable for the system to produce technology, smartphones, and cars that are guaranteed to break or become obsolete in a couple of years, forcing us to spend our resources again and again on buying new ones. It is profitable to force us to endlessly, heroically recycle the same dirty plastic, spending our taxes on it, instead of simply banning its production at the core level and replacing it with biodegradable polymers. We are intentionally kept in the routine of fighting household waste so that we physically have no time or energy left to look up, realize our real capabilities, and break out of this bondage. The entire modern multi-billion-dollar eco-industry often works as a perfect diversionary maneuver. It is a huge, beautiful screen behind which completely different processes are hidden. While we are being drawn into heated emotional debates about the benefits of electric cars, presented as the salvation of the planet, nobody talks about the fact that the production of lithium batteries, the extraction of rare earth metals, and the subsequent disposal of these toxic batteries cause colossal, irreparable harm to the earth, often exceeding the damage from traditional engines. Moreover, the electricity for these clean cars is still in most cases generated at the same dirty coal and gas power plants. Our sincere involvement, our arguments on social media, our genuine anxiety about global warming, this is colossal, valuable psychic energy that the matrix harvests for itself. We are forced to play by the rules of someone else's deeply hypocritical game, where we are knowingly cast in the role of losers, debtors, and the guilty. We voluntarily spend our inner light and our attention on discussing artificially imposed pseudo-problems, while the real culprits of large-scale industrial pollution and the exploitation of planetary resources remain in the shadows, counting profits from the sale of green certificates. The truth that is important for us all to realize together is that this planet was originally created as a self-restoring, incredibly rich, clean, and perfect system. It possesses a colossal resource of regeneration, and the right to render and materialize this clean reality belongs to our consciousness, not the administrators of the control system. As soon as we stop accepting the imposed role of eternally guilty consumers, as soon as we remove this burden and refuse to feed the system with our fear, the rules of the game change. Protecting nature, respecting the earth we stand on, valuing the living forest, and maintaining cleanliness around ourselves is our personal, internal, free choice. It comes from sincere love for our home, from respect for life and for ourselves, not from fear of fines, public condemnation, or an imposed sense of shame. When we return our inner silence to ourselves, turn on critical thinking, and begin to openly see these double standards, the old, dirty utilization firmware breaks, receiving none of our energy. We step onto an entirely different sovereign branch of reality where we ourselves, through our focused attention and our conscious actions, determine a clean, strong, and harmonious future for ourselves and our Earth. Thank you for being with me on this channel. I wish you the best possible branch of reality. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care.